So there's the dots for Kambo. So basically what they do there is it's like having an incense. They have an incense stick and just make the 4 burn holes. Burns. It's just like a little prick, really. Just and then they wipe it with a tissue with some water on it, just to break the burn, the scab, while they're preparing the Kambo, which is the poison of the poison arrow frog, which they have to stress the frog. They don't do that here; it's all pre-done, obviously. Scrape the poison off the back, and then it's like they put it on the block of wood, which I think I've explained in another video that a guy told me when he bought some. It's on a piece of wood, and then they activate it again with water or spit, and then they just dab it on those burns. The effect is instantaneous, literally within a minute, like a pressure each side of the head. And of course, after the tiredness of the ayahuasca ceremony and the physical draining, you're thinking, oh God, what have I let myself in for now? Because the pressure on the side of the head, you don't know whether you're going to get a headache or feel really weird or what's going to go on. So you get that kind of nervousness after taking any medicine, any plant medicine, because you don't know what the effects are going to be for your first time. So there's always a bit of sort of anxiety, worry, butterflies. But it's absolutely wonderful. It's the most amazing purging experience, because after a couple of minutes, any weirdness just disappears and you end up with a completely clear mind. So everything is really focused. Again, all the greens of all the grasses and the trees become that little bit brighter as your senses are a bit enhanced. And you have to drink quite a lot of water with it. So we have a little half-liter bottle of water, and they just kept filling it up, and we just kept drinking. And again, so it puts quite a lot. It's a bit like the water purge. So it puts, at least you've got a lot of fluid and something in your stomach, and the more you drink, and then after maybe, I don't know, probably 20 minutes, you're starting to feel, this isn't going to be good. But it was just keep drinking, get a lot of liquid in your stomach, started to get stomach ache. And then had a really good purge. The second, I knew there was something stuck since the first San Pedro ceremony, because I didn't purge. I purged in the ayahuasca ceremony, finally, when I went out for a pee, found a bush, and just as I was walking, really tripping heavily on ayahuasca, but getting up and walking was good to go outside to find a bush. And just before I got to the bush, I felt sick and I vomited a little bit. It was hard. I had to put my fingers down my throat, and I had to do the same for the second urging with Kambo, because I knew it was stuck. But because I'd had so much water, there was a lot, and it's much deeper. It comes from below the stomach. You get a really good purging, and after that, felt absolutely wonderful. Just thank God. So Kambo, yeah, I mean, we have to pay extra here. It was $35 for each session, but we're going to do the next 2 after each. There's 2 more possible to do. Tonight will be the second of 2 ayahuasca ceremonies, followed by Kambo, and then maybe they're talking about doing Kambo after the last San Pedro ceremony, possibly with a sweat lodge as well. So God knows what that's going to be like. That'll be tough, I should imagine, with the sweat going on and the enclosure of the sweat lodge, because I get a little bit claustrophobic, and depending on and I just don't like San Pedro. It just doesn't. You get bursts of enthusiasm, but that's more the rapé. When you have the rapé with it, that kind of gives you a which we had on top of the mountain yesterday. That was a real spiritual vibration, like power, just cool. But unfortunately for me, because of my complex post-traumatic stress disorder past, it always hits my stomach with that anxiety. And the last 3 hours, just as we'd done the last ceremony, sort of thankfulness, where Jimena buried lots of flowers and we had some prayers with tobacco, and then we covered it over as an offering to whoever you want, thankfulness to all the different spirits, the spirit of the mountain, the spirit of the river, Mama Ayahuasca, San Pedro, And at that point, I was started to feel pretty rough. My stomach came on, kind of just a sickly nausea. Very late in the day, so we got through the bulk of the hike, which was, of course, the views are absolutely beautiful up there. But for me, San Pedro's really, it's a very hard medicine for me because it lasts so long. I really, only used to 5-hour ayahuasca ceremonies, and even in the ayahuasca ceremony here being from 10 till 6 in the morning or something before they close it, or 7 before the sun's up and warm, probably more. I don't even know what time it was. So the ceremonies here just being so long, really physically take it out of you as well when you're feeling sick, and especially because it's not hot here like Peru, so you haven't even got that uh, general ambient temperature to stave off the ayahuasca chill. So it's freezing in here. So I'm going to make sure I've got at least 2 blankets for tonight. Because I arrived late. The rest had found their space, and all of the blankets down there, they were already taken. So I only had one on my bed, on the mat. So I'm going to bring my own one that I bought in Loja as well, because just being cold is horrible, especially when you're feeling shitty. But for me, the revelation was so far has been Dr. Teshna Bolio, who's written the book, whatever it's called. It's on Amazon. But she's a kinesthesiologist and an expert in she wears quite a few hats. She's from from Quebec, so she's French Canadian. Absolutely fascinating. The whole thing with quantum neurology, which is waving an LED light. She identifies from doing muscle tests, like pulling you've got to resist with your wrist muscle, and she pulls it the other way, and if it's too weak, she'll adjust the appropriate nerves in the body or get you to hold an acupuncture point. In particular one, there was one on the side of the ribs here that I had to press while doing some, whatever it was with my arm. You're lifting your arms up and down, and legs from side to side, and she'd pull against them, and you've got to oppose it. And if you can't, it means that the signals from your brain to the muscle have been damaged. So like the nerves are being compressed. So then she's got like a prong, a staple gun prong, electronic, and just goes. So you feel like you're being stapled all the way up your backbone. And then depending on the results of all of her exercises that you do, like this one, she'll get you to hold your little finger and thumb together. And if she can just pull it apart, which she could with me with this hand, she just pulled it apart when I was trying to resist. And then she used the little gun thing on the appropriate vertebrae where that nerve is. And then we did it again, and she could, there was resistance. So it was the same with my left hand, probably where I dislocated my elbow. So that whole kinesthesiology with her was absolutely miraculous, because the results are instantaneous. As soon as she identifies the problem, she can just adjust your spine and take the pressure off that nerve, and then you've got the reconnection again. And then the quantum neurology side is similar. It's all to do with the nerves from the brain to the muscles and everything. And the weirdest one, she got just a scent to check whether the olfactory nerves were working or not, because they also affect other muscles in your body. Because obviously it's all about acupuncture points and everything, because everything's connected. And again, she got me to do an arm resistance movement while smelling this just a perfume up each side of the nose. And while I was sniffing it, she was pulling my hand down when I'm trying to resist, and she could. So and then she got me to do some vocalization exercises, like and just weird things like that, and quite a few others that affected the vagus nerve that comes down from the head to down in front of the stomach. Do a coughing thing, and then do the muscle test. And just after doing that, and she's got a little box that's got a red LED on, because the nerves are activated by sometimes photons of light, your nerve system. So that's all it's doing, just waving this LED. It sounds absolutely crazy, but it's instantaneous. And then you, again, do the test after doing the wave the light around, and then do the resistance test, and then you've got resistance. The muscles are working again. It's absolutely the most fascinating thing. That's why I said I was going to buy her book. So with that and the discovery of Kambo, which, like Vishal, he's a lovely guy. Him and his wife, they're both really lovely people. They're Indians from California. They've had the same sort of benefits and feeling. You know, they prefer ayahuasca to San Pedro. San Pedro makes, because it depends on what your problems are, basically, whether it's emotional, stuck emotionality, uh, whatever negative energy you're carrying around from whatever trauma you've had in the past. Obviously, will make the medicine work in a specific way for you. And San Pedro works just too strong for me. I just don't like it. I don't like the feeling, but it's still working. I mean, it means that it's working well. Because if it hits that anxiety and you're under the influence of a plant medicine when you're feeling like that, that's getting it out, and even if you're vomit or whatever. But that's the way the plant spirits work. But it's just so unpleasant for too long. The ceremonies are too long. The 10 hours, they're really grueling. When you're feeling shitty, and boy, can you feel shitty on plant medicine, trust me. And in ways that you have no perspective of before plant medicine, because you can't have these, because it goes beyond physicality. It goes into the spiritual realm, into the realm of fear, spiritual fear, especially with visions. You can see and feel things that you're not aware of in your normal 3D physicality. So it can be very, very hard, taxing space to be in, and especially for hours. But that's just the way they work, and that's the way they heal. If you want to get a lot, for someone who's got a lot of trauma in their life, that's stuck in there, that's been there for, like in my case, for 48 years, well, since I was 11, it's going to take time to remove it. But Kambo was the big revelation. That really works, and it only lasts for 40, 50 minutes. So, and after an ayahuasca ceremony, and your head is really, really clear. So you've got rid of all of the weirdness of the ayahuasca or San Pedro. And then when you do the Kambo and it just really makes you purge. So, you feel everything just comes back to the physical level. So it's much more handleable. You're just dealing with physical discomfort at this point until you vomit, and then it's gone. So Kambo is just wonderful for me, and as it was for Vishal and Sapna as well, his wife. She hasn't tried it yet, but I've said for you, it's going to be really good. It's what you need. So she's going to do it after tonight's ceremony with us. So we've got 2 more Kambo to do, and I will always seek that out in future now. Definitely a medicine of choice that just works. So anyway, so that's that. And I'll try and talk about, depending on how tired we are or how much time we have tomorrow, I'll try and do an explanation of tonight's ceremony with tomorrow's Kambo as well, to describe what that was about. Oh, that's the other little thing that's different than Peru. There is always a little fire. It doesn't have to be very big, but again, it's a lot of offerings of different incense, like cedar. So after they do prayers or sing Icaros, or anybody can come up at any time if they've had some little revelation or insight into their problem that means something, and they get some resolution, they can actually come up and make a little offering from all of the herbs. They're not here at the moment, obviously, because it's not set up, but there's this whole area is set up with, and they bring beautiful musical instruments like zithers and erhu sounds and violins, some of them to make quite horrible kind of sounds, but not often. And their voices are wonderful. The female shaman, she's she's just beautiful. She's got an amazing voice, and they're both incredible musicians on all of these different instruments. They play beautiful plucked strings, sort of elven instruments. Um, it's a wonderful experience with these guys. So we actually do have a little fire in this urn. So there's always a little bit of light, and then they also lit a candle at one point. So it's not totally pitch black all the time. Sometimes when everything's not lit and the fire's not too high. So they have a table here that they have all of their ornaments and the eagle feathers for fanning the fire and this sort of thing. So it's quite a nice space. I said, unfortunately, the river is so loud, and I was at the back, so I couldn't hear a lot of what was being said, or a lot of the words. Even if you understand them, doesn't matter. I like to concentrate on the words of the Icaros when I'm on ayahuasca, or San Pedro, even just to tune into that Icaro. But it was very difficult to hear until they were walking around. They also did, like the Peruvians, like the Shipibo, they do at one point come and give you a personal blessing, and they use the leaf shakers. And then what they call perfume is, again, liquid tobacco with other stuff, and it can be really quite sickly and purgative, because when you're under the influence of ayahuasca and you're feeling a bit rough, it can help feeling, oh geez, that can't stand that smell. And they pour it into your hands and make you rub it on your face and on your head and on your chest. Although I bring my own agua florida, just so sometimes if I want to breathe some agua florida in to feel a bit better if I'm feeling particularly shitty, which is all the time. So really looking forward to tonight's ceremony, and because it's the second one for the rest of the guys, they feel a lot more confident now because they've got an idea what to expect and what they can concentrate on, and how deep they want to go, what direction they want to go in the ayahuasca ceremony. So it's been a good experience for me, because obviously it reminds me of all the ones that I've done, the 26 previous. So so I've done 27 now, and tonight will be my 28th. So looking forward to it.